Marvel's Infinity War and the currently untitled Avengers 4 are probably the most anticipated movies in the Marvel Cinematic Universe so far. Kevin Feige has gone on record to say that there will be two distinct periods, everything before Avengers 4 and everything after. Not to mention, we've been told time and time again to prepare for heartbreak. If that doesn't say superheroes are gonna die, I don't know what does. It's basically a fact at this point that a handful of heroes are gonna die over the course of Avengers 3 and 4. All of the actors who played the original Avengers have their contracts expiring with Avengers 4. And yes, a lot of those characters did make it to this list. And yeah, I know, this video is already half dated because it took longer than I thought it would, and Infinity War's already out now. So it's a good thing I'm talking about deaths that may occur over Infinity War and Avengers 4. So when I talk about Infinity War, I'm talking about both movies. And I'm assuming the actual war will take place over both. And no, I'm not talking about characters who will die and then come back to life with the help of a certain timey-wimey Infinity Stone, because we all know that is going to happen. I'm talking about actual, permanent, deadly
death.
Alright, I guess I need to throw up a spoiler warning for the entire cinematic universe up until before Infinity War, but also for things that happen in the comics that may or may not happen in the movies.
Nick Fury.
That's right, gosh darn Nick Fury. Nick Fury is low on this list because he's my wild card. It's super unlikely. We don't even know he's in the movie yet. Or do we?
You looked around and you just saw, you know, everyone from Samuel Jackson to, you know, Michael Douglas, Michelle Pfeiffer. I mean, everybody was there.
His presence is definitely felt throughout the first trailer as it opens with his voice.
There was an idea.
Plus, I just like the idea of it. For the longest time, he was the face and head of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Talking to me about authority.
He's an important character. He started the Avengers Initiative. It would be somewhat poetic if he went down fighting to save what he created. Also, he's been missing from the movies for a while now since he briefly showed up in Ultron. If they're not doing anything with him, may as well kill him off.
Drax the Destroyer.
While I don't think it's incredibly likely Disney will kill off one of the Guardians, well, one of the original Guardians, I'm not ruling out that it's a possibility. Drax has a huge bone to pick with Thanos. Dude ordered Ronan to kill his family. Not to mention in the comics, Drax was literally created with the single purpose of killing Thanos. We've already seen in the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie that Drax will do stupid things for revenge.
He's basically living solely for revenge.
We could see Drax trying to go head to head with Thanos. Figuratively, of course. Plus, a lot of Drax's characteristics are already replicated in other Guardians. Gamora has the melee weapon fighting down, Rocket has the hot-headedness, and now Mantis has the kind of oblivious nature that Drax has. Drax barely survived his fight with Ronan. Do we really think he can survive Thanos?
Black Widow.
How did she even survive the first Avengers movie? She is way out of her league. Honestly, I'm a bit uncertain about this one, as there is a lot of talk of a Black Widow solo movie in the works. But given that Scarlett Johansson's contract is expiring and we don't really know much about her backstory in the MCU, we could be looking at a Black Widow origin story set way before Infinity War and telling the story of how Natasha Romanoff came to join S.H.I.E.L.D.
The Hulk.
Honestly, I don't have a lot to say about the Hulk, and I think that's just it. There isn't a lot to say about the Hulk. The Incredible Hulk is just not so incredible. Don't get me wrong, he was great in Ragnarok, but that's honestly the first time I can say I've seen a great Hulk performance. Heck, Banner is a more interesting character, and Marvel agrees. Unlike with Black Widow, they've shown little to no interest in making a solo Hulk movie. Well, another one. This one totally counts as being part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, right? Iron Man was in it and everything. I'm convinced he was thrown into Thor Ragnarok so they can get the last bit out of him before they kill him off in Avengers 3 or 4.
Hawkeye.
Hawkeye's an awkward character. He's only really appeared in the Avengers movies, apart from Civil War, which was basically an Avengers movie anyway. And no, his original appearance in Thor totally does not count. I personally believe Marvel doesn't really know what to do with Hawkeye. He was completely Loki-fied in his debut film, the first Avengers, leaving him with basically no emotions or dialogue. They gave him a farm and a secret family in Age of Ultron and made him like a dad for Scarlet Witch in Civil War, kind of. They've kind of been all over the place with him. Not to mention, he hasn't even been seen once for any of the promotional stuff they've done for Infinity War. I originally thought that this meant that Hawkeye was going to die early, but then the Russo brothers kind of said he was just off doing his own thing in this movie, so he's probably not going to die as soon, but he's definitely still going to die.
Iron Man.
Iron Man is a super likely candidate to bite the dust. He's been in the MCU the longest and kind of already passed the torch to Spider-Man. The fact that Peter is wearing the Iron Spider suit in the trailer really solidifies that. We also see Thanos saying,
I hope they remember you.
But of course, Marvel is well aware of what they're showing us, and this could very well be a fake out. Plus, we've got a little hint from a motion captured up Gwyneth Paltrow that she might be appearing in Avengers 4 as Rescue. Perhaps Pepper Potts will be taking up the mantle of Iron Man or Iron Woman in the future.
Loki.
This one hurts me the most. Everyone loves Tom Hiddleston as the mischievous Loki, but how many times can his death be faked out before it's real? Let's not forget it was Loki who lost the Space Stone in the original Avengers movie, something I'm pretty sure Thanos has not forgotten, despite what Tom Hiddleston has tried to tell us.
Chaos isn't something that's threatening to Loki, and everything's fine.
It's also possible that Loki will try to betray Thanos.
I'm pretty sure I preferred banana head fart man.
Loki was somewhat redeemed by the end of Thor Ragnarok, though it's very possible he alerted Thanos to their location, which resulted in the post-credit scene. The other credit scene. Loki's a tough character to pin. There's really no telling which side he'll play. The only thing that's certain is he's in it for himself. Either way, Loki will end up betraying one side of the Infinity War, and whether it's the Black Order or the Avengers, it won't end well for him.
I wouldn't worry, brother. I feel like everything's gonna work out fine.
Thanos.
Haha, you forgot we weren't just talking about the good guys here, didn't you? While I wouldn't be surprised if some or most of his followers survived, from a movie with so much devastation and so much consequence, anything less than the death of the big bad mad Titan would just feel unsatisfying. Thanos has been the Titan behind the curtain since Avengers 1, which means we've been waiting for him to bite the dust for 6 years. They can't just let Thanos get away after causing the death of so many characters. Thanos needs to die.
Vision.
Vision holds an Infinity Stone. Thanos wants it. That's honestly reason enough for him to be on this list. Without even mentioning the fact that that very stone gave him life and maybe what's keeping him alive. Plus, we've already seen Vision in a not so favorable position in the trailer. Obviously, Thanos is going to get that stone. It's just a matter of whether or not that kills Vision.
Black Panther.
Yeah, Marvel is totally gonna kill off the center character of the highest grossing superhero movie of all time. No, Black Panther is definitely safe.
Captain America.
I know, probably not that surprising. It not only seems fitting that Captain America would sacrifice himself for the sake of humanity, we see this scene in the trailer. Very similar to the scene where Captain America stands up against Thanos in the comics, right before he dies. He's kind of on borrowed time as it is, and I'm not talking about the fact he was thawed out of ice after like 60 years of being frozen. I'm referring to the fact that if we were in the comic book timeline, Steve Rogers is already dead. As many people know, in the comics, Steve Rogers died in Civil War, which was also the final Captain America movie. Many of us were expecting him to kick the bucket then. But he's still around now, living. Speaking of the comics, let's not forget that Steve Rogers has two characters that could potentially fill his shoes. Bucky Barnes, the Winter Soldier, and Sam Wilson, the Falcon. Both of which took up the mantle of Captain America in the comics. We even have these set photos of Chris in his Avengers 1 costume, which can only mean he appears in a flashback. Well, aside from the use of that one Infinity Stone I mentioned earlier in the video. And of course, last but certainly not least, we have the meta reason. Chris Evans is on record with the Telegraph saying he renewed his current contract, which now ends with Avengers 4, to wrap everything up. If that doesn't say, time for Steve to die, I don't know what does. Case closed, hashtag ripcap. So, how do you think I did? Do you think I missed anyone? Do you disagree with anyone that was on the list? Would you have ordered them differently? Leave your thoughts in the comments down below, and also let me know if you're watching this before or after you see Infinity War. And would you see it again? I'm actually adding this bit in after I've seen the movie, and wow, I'm definitely gonna see it again. I have to process everything that happened, but no spoilers. If you do want to see more Marvel-related content on this channel, please leave a like down below so I know. I love making content based on Marvel. I'm a big freaking nerd. Look at everything I'm wearing. It's Spider-Man. It's Captain America. Major fanboy right here. Also, maybe leave me some ideas in the comments down below. I've asked you to leave a lot of comments, I know, but you can handle it. But in the meantime, if you'd like to check out some other videos I've done over here on this channel, hopefully YouTube's showing you some right about now. Just go ahead and click on one of them and you can stop listening to my voice here and listen to it on another video. But either way, thanks for checking out this video and thank you for sticking around to the end. I do appreciate it. I don't really have an outro or like a sign off for these videos, so I'm just gonna